Hello everybody, this is SaberRex coming to you live with a brand new video review, and today we are going to kick off the second wave of the Beasts of the Mesozoic Ceratopsians Series action figures by Creative Beast Studio and David Silva today, starting with the largest and heaviest of the bunch, Pachyrhinosaurus lakustai, which is 1/18 scale. So here we are. There it is, and before we take a look at this magnificent figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging, shall we? So here we have the packaging for the Beasts of the Mesozoic Pachyrhinosaurus, and I absolutely love the artwork for it. It's done by Raul Ramos. And like all the Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, different artists contributed to the artwork for the different figures. And yeah, I absolutely love it. Now, inside this box, you also have a beautiful diorama, which you can take out and place behind the figure if you so choose to. Or you can just leave it in the box. And on the back, you have some information about the animal, as well as your obligatory product shots regarding all the figures for Wave 2. So, yeah, you got all these different figures, and yeah. Now, inside the box, alongside the figure, inside the box, alongside the figure, you get this beautiful card, beautiful collector's card, and on the back, information about the animal itself, along with a shot of the figure, and you get these ever so important instructions which are needed to assemble it. Now, you do have to attach the tail of the Pachyrhinosaurus after heating it up either with a hairdryer or in hot water. Now, if you don't do this, it will be very, very hard to assemble the figure, if not impossible, without breaking the ball joint in the tail. So I highly, highly, highly recommend reading the instructions and assembling the tail using hot water or a hairdryer to be safe. And this one actually will be a little more difficult just because of its size to actually adhere the tail to the ball joint. So you're going to have to heat it a little bit longer than the smaller 1/18 scale figures in this line. But yeah, once it's attached, it is going to stay on there and you're not going to have any problems. So yeah, that is absolutely wonderful. And let's move on to the figure, shall we? Now, looking at the figure itself, you get this beautiful, beautiful color scheme, which is based off a lizard known as a red iguana. And honestly, I think this is absolutely the best color scheme that anyone can imagine for Pachyrhinosaurus. I mean, I really liked the color scheme for the ones in the Walking with Dinosaurs movie, even though I did not like the fact that that movie had a lot of really unnecessary voiceovers. But honestly, this color scheme for Pachyrhinosaurus, I feel it really fits the animal better than the color schemes in that movie. I mean, it's just the right amount of camouflage plus bright display colors. It really, really works. I mean, look at that color on the underbelly, and yeah, look at on the face and the frills. I mean, this looks incredibly realistic, honestly. And yeah, I'm not going to whitewash over it. This is absolutely my favorite, one of my top 3 favorites in this toy line, and one of my 3 favorite top Ceratopsians in general. out of the 12 that are my absolute favorites. This is in the top 3. So yeah, yeah, it really looks wonderful, and it just is so cool. I mean, look at all that detail with the scales and the and the little osteoderms and the horns. It just looks so incredible. I mean, really, even the eyes. I mean, the eyes look so lifelike. It's almost like they're looking back at you. So, really cool figure in that regard. Now, articulation-wise, this figure has 20 points of articulation, which is standard for the larger beasts of the Mesozoic figures. And why don't we move into that and show you exactly what it can do. So, let's take a look at the head first. He's got a mouth that can open and close. Now, he doesn't open his jaws particularly wide, but as you can see, he can shut his beak very well. And it stays shut when it's closed. But yeah, he can open and close his mouth. His tongue, which is very well hidden in there, I don't know how well you can see it. It is on a ball joint, so you can move the tongue up and down and a little bit left to right. But you're not going to get much playability out of that just because it's so well hidden in there. His neck has two joints here. So you can move his head left, right, and he's got very tight joints, just to let you know. So you might need a hairdryer. Actually, no, you will need a hairdryer to loosen them up a little bit. He does not have a lot of downward motion with his head, but I don't really feel bothered by that. But he has some great upward motion with that neck. I mean, look at that. He can really look up if you wanted to pose him that way. And yeah, it absolutely is fantastic. The torso also has quite a bit of up and down movement, as you can see here. Not as much side-to-side movement, just because the legs block it, but if you bend the legs, you can get him to bend left and right. Though, again, yeah, his legs are going to get in the way of that. He does not have the problem of his mobility in the torso being limited by his hips. His tail does have a single ball joint, and he can swing it left, right, up and down. It's the only joint in the tail, though, so you're not going to get very much movement out of that other than at the base. His legs can do a full 360 for the front legs, though I don't recommend it because of the issues with clearing his shoulders. His elbows can move about 90 degrees, and again, these joints are very tight, so you are going to want to use a hairdryer to make sure to loosen them up. His wrist moves up and down. You also get some pivot head side to side, like so. And yeah, he can straighten it out to pretty much a 90 degree, pretty much a straight line. Though again, I don't really recommend it. His hind legs, they're pretty stiff at the knee, but they do have a lot of great movement. He can straighten them out about that much, so you're not going to get a full straight leg on that, but he can bend his legs back like that, just like that, and he looks really good when he does it. His ankles also have a pivot joint right here, and that doesn't move as much, but it is still very good for posing. His feet can move a little bit down and up, and of course they've got the swivel, so you can really balance him well. But yeah, again, you're going to need a hairdryer to really loosen up his joints, because he's got very tight joints. And I think that's kind of typical of these bigger ceratopsians, so that they don't have issues with falling down. But yeah, his hind legs can move full 360. Although again, you probably want to avoid that too much because, yeah, clearance issues at this part. But yeah, all 4 legs are capable of that movement, and you can pose him however you want. Like, for example, you could have him kneel down to drink. You could have him... Yeah, you could have him lay down to sleep, or have him sit like a dog. There is just no limit to what this figure can do. It is absolutely stellar. I love this figure, honestly. Hey, and again, this is one of my favorite Ceratopsians of all time. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Pachyrhinosaurus in general, it has appeared in such documentaries as Jurassic Fight Club and in PBS's The Dinosaurs, which you can actually watch on YouTube or anywhere else. It also has appeared in, of course, the Walking with Dinosaurs film, which was probably one of the less spectacular creature... Well, one of the less spectacular creature features it was in, because honestly, with those voices as dubbed in for the dinosaurs, it really took away from it and made it feel more like a movie for little kids. Without the dialogue, it would have been a lot better. But anyway, Pachyrhinosaurus has been featured very heavily in that, and this is a dinosaur that is probably one of the best known ceratopsians out there. We actually have huge bone beds full of skeletons from these dinosaurs, so we have a pretty good idea of what they were like. Individually, Pachyrhinosaurus, they have many different individuals depending on their appearance. Some of them had twisted horns, some of them had missing horns or shrunken horns on one side, or sometimes they had extra numbers of horns. It's kind of like how deer are individually discernible by way of their antlers. So yeah, there was a huge amount of individual variation between individual Pachyrhinosaurus. And of course, my favorite feature of this dinosaur is, of course, that battering ram on the nose, that huge boss of bone that would have been in life covered by that horny sheath. Yeah, but Pachyrhinosaurus, it didn't develop that boss until it was nearing full maturity. Basically, when it became old enough to mate, it would actually start to develop this boss from when it was a baby. And in the first 2 years of its life, this dinosaur would actually grow very, very rapidly, to the point where by age 2, baby Pachyrhinosaurus would be about half their adult size. And then for the next 20 years, they would grow a lot more slowly. Now, there are 3 species of Pachyrhinosaurus known. There is Pachyrhinosaurus canadensis, Pachyrhinosaurus lakustai, which is the one featured here, and then there is Pachyrhinosaurus paratorum, and that one is from Alaska and would have had to deal with polar tyrannosaurs. In addition to dealing with tyrannosaurs such as Nanoxaurus and Albertosaurus and Daspletosaurus, which would have shared the same habitat, Pachyrhinosaurus would have also shared habitat with things like Stegosaurus, which is a small pachycephalosaur or bonehead dinosaur. It would have also lived alongside Struthiomimus, the ostrich dinosaur, and the Hadrosaur Edmontosaurus, as well as Saurolophus. So there was a lot of different fauna that shared habitat with this animal. It was not just the only dinosaur around. And there would have been other ceratopsians to share habitat with it too, such as Anchiceratops and Arinoceratops. So, yeah, there were quite a few different dinosaurs that it would have shared habitat with. And, yeah, it's absolutely one of my top 3 favorites, just behind Torosaurus and Triceratops as my personal favorites, respectively. Yeah, this is also the very largest of the Centrosaurine subfamily of Ceratopsians. There are 2 different families, well, subfamilies of Ceratopsians in general, and those are the Centrosaurines and the Chasmosaurines, which include Triceratops. But this one is the largest of the Centrosaurs, and it is, again, without a doubt, my favorite. It is also the one that has the most species to its genus. I mean, 3 different species of Pachyrhinosaurus altogether. That's a lot for a dinosaur. But, yeah, again, just such a cool animal. Now, in regards to size, hang on a second. In regards to size, this figure is approximately about 7.5 inches tall at the top of the frill, and a little over 6 inches at the shoulder, or at the top of the back. Lengthwise, this figure is roughly 16 inches long, and there's no doubt about it. It's huge! And this is basically a precursor of what's to come for Wave 3 of the Beasts of the Mesozoic. You can expect figures as big as, if not bigger, okay, definitely bigger, than the Pachyrhinosaurus and the Centrosaurus that are present in Wave 2. From now on, for the next wave, they're just going to get bigger. And if you think that's crazy, wait until the Tyrannosaurs come out, because when they come out, they're going to be just as big, and definitely longer. But weight-wise, this figure is also a rock. It's basically a 1-pound weight. It's just so heavy. And so solid. I mean, you could drop this and it's not likely to break on you because it's just so well put together. I mean, really, just absolutely enormous and heavy, and yeah, this thing is as robust as the real thing, basically. But yeah, price-wise, on Kickstarter, it was about $85, so not cheap, but not unaffordable. I would definitely recommend saving up if you can, if you want to get this figure, because honestly, it is one of the coolest figures of the bunch. And again, this is one of my personal favorites, so maybe I'm a little biased in that regard, but yeah, definitely worth getting, and yeah, totally worth every penny of it. Yeah, but it will become available on CreativeBeast.com tomorrow, basically, and then once that occurs, it'll probably be closer to $90, honestly, which is understandable. Once the backer kit campaign ends for Wave 2, then things become a little more expensive to cover the costs on the website where they're sold traditionally, which is, again, CreativeBeast.com, where you can get these. And, yeah, I cannot recommend this figure enough. This is one of the coolest of the bunch. And, yeah, if you can get it, definitely do not pass up that chance, because this is a figure that is going to be a conversation piece. People are going to be looking at this when they see it on your shelf, and they're going to be like, whoa! Yeah. So, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. So this is SaberRex signing off saying, you're never too old to play with toys. Don't be afraid Hate to be a toy nerd. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. Bye.